Okay. Great. So let's round out with money, everyone's favorite topic here.
Let's talk money. Good.
So this may be more of like an application level question. Sometimes it's in the form fields for applications, but like how much are you looking to make with us? That kind of thing. How do you tackle the question about what your salary expectations are?
Yeah, great question. So you have a couple of options depending on the situation. What I have in my book, the 10 laws of salary negotiations, which apply to offers and apply, I think, to people who are working and just want to get promoted or make more money. Your best negotiating leverage is after you have an offer. That's basically the best time to talk about money. So when someone asks you about money in the interview, it can be a really difficult situation because it makes you feel like they're judging, whether or not they're going to give you the job based on what you say in terms of money. So if at all possible, I like to first say, at least as one option, hey, I'm really excited about this opportunity. And I really want to make sure this is a good fit for me and a good fit for you. And I'm confident we can figure out something that works should you want to move forward with me. You can fully punt. That's one option.
That's what I would do.
Another option is, what's that?
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Another
option is if you're pretty confident in your base salary and you're like, look, I got to be making X more than my base salary. I mean, you can just, we can talk this now. Here's what I'm making. Here's what I need to be making or I want to be making in this new role in order to make a switch. If you feel like you have that kind of leverage, I've had those conversations before too. Like, hey, just right up front, let's not waste our time here. Let's just kind of talk it. That's an option that definitely works for you. But in those times, a lot of times I speak in ranges still because I don't want to fully negotiate until there is an offer on the table and in writing that I can actually really evaluate.
Okay. Speaking ranges, can you elaborate more on the ranges thing? Because I've been told that once you give a range, it's almost like they'll go for the bottom number no matter what,
Yeah.
But what's your take?
Yeah. When I talk about range, I do like to anchor a little high. The way I joke about it is you want to be, when you say the number, you want to be somewhere between, you don't want to be sure we can do that. And you also don't want to be like, let's stop the call right now. You want to almost cringe a little bit inside when you're saying it. Not completely, just a little, wait, here's my range. Ooh,
never heard.
I hope that's okay. And you don't say that, but inside you are stretching just a little bit. And because, the response is, ooh, yeah, okay, that's a little bit above our range, but maybe we can work on something, So I think if you are going to give a range, you ought to do your research and understand. Yeah. If it's not transparent, you ought to do your research and understand from just your network or friends or Glassdoor, whatever it is, do everything you can to find out what the pay range is for this role.
Yeah.
And then, try to justify landing on the high side if you communicate it.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I'll just rapid fire these. These are just 10 laws, okay, of salary negotiations.
I love it.
And if any one of them becomes interesting, in the end, we could talk about it. But first, best time to negotiate is when you have an offer in writing. Second, any promises of career progression or salary or anything that's not in writing should not be taken seriously. Third, it's best to actually be paid what you're worth or maybe slightly more, but not a lot more and not a lot less. If you're paid more or less than you're worth over time, you often run into problems in terms of career and the company and everything. It's best to be paid what you're worth. Compensation is about base salary, but so much more. So part of negotiating is figuring out what things they have flexibility on and what things they don't have flexibility on. Companies are more willing, this is 5, companies are more willing to do a deal with you if they believe you will accept. So sometimes people think, no, I got to be standoffish and I don't know or whatever. No, they're actually much more willing to negotiate. If you say, look, I'm really excited about this. I want this job.
Yeah.
But here's what I need to make this happen. Don't underestimate the power of likability. So that's number 6. If you want to be douchey about it, it doesn't go well. Like people think you got to be a jerk to negotiate. It's actually usually the opposite. If you're likable, negotiation goes much better. 7, you're likely not to burn bridges by negotiating hard. So, people think, man, if I really am negotiating hard, are they going to remember this in a year? It's like amnesia. Once the negotiation's done and you start, you're pretty much good to go. So don't be afraid to negotiate hard. 8, knowledge is power. So understanding where the salary ranges are, doing your research. If you got that knowledge, you're going to be in a great spot. 9, a rushed deal is usually a bad deal for at least one party. So if you're feeling
deal,
rushed,
Sam?
is
Rush
a bad deal. The rushed deal is at least one party is usually going to get the short end of the stick. So if you're feeling pressured, we got to know by this time or whatever, take a pause. Don't rush it, because you're usually going to, someone's going to regret that.
Yeah.
If you're
and I
rushing
kind of use that in sales too. It's like people don't like being pressured to buy something. Right. It's like they want to make the right decision for them. So that's
Why do you get pressured into something? Well, because they want to close before you can do all your research.
Right.
It's like, it's the only reason. And then finally, number 10, current salary can be a great asset or it can be a liability. So it's up to you if you want to use that. Sometimes it can be a great shorthand. It's like, look, this is what I'm making. I'm not going to move unless I'm making more. Of course, you would understand that. But sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm not really making as much as I want. And so I'm going to really focus on my qualifications and what I want and not really mention my current salary. And that's up to you.
So you're saying like how it could anchor you down on accident, because I've been underpaid the whole time. Therefore, someone can continue doing that and know that it's not as big of a deal if I already had the higher pay.
That's right. They say, what are you making? You're making this. Okay, I'll just give you a little bump. And it's like, but there's actually a higher, I'm underpaid and the range for this job is actually more, and you think I'm qualified. So let's pay me what I'm worth.
Yeah. So I love those 10 rules. So these are in your book?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. That's because my question to you is any tips on salary negotiation, but you pretty much nailed that already with all those. That was beautiful. That was really beautifully put.
Good. Yeah. It's all part of accepting and signing the offer. That's the part of the book. It's the last chapter.
Okay. I want to put, these are unexpected. You don't know about these questions. I just want to ask you a few random, exciting questions that I would love to know about Sam Owens, book, et cetera, things like that. But first of all, any final words of advice on the salary negotiation piece, just because I know it's something that's interesting for people or interviewing in general?
No, well, the last thing on the salary thing is I would just say, remember that that we are kind of commodities in the marketplace. I don't mean that as insulting, but we kind of operate in a marketplace. Yeah. And so there's things that make commodities make more money or raise their prices, and the things that don't matter. So, for example, I need the money. Well, that doesn't get you a raise, right? I need the money. Or this isn't fair. That doesn't get you a raise. What gets you a raise is I'm performing at a higher level, or I've differentiated myself, or I have this extra education, or, those are the things. Just like a commodity, like a jug of milk, right? Jug of milk needs more money. They're not going to get a price increase. It's like jug of milk is like, no, I've added protein, or I'm organic, or I'm something else. That's how the price gets raised, not because milk needs more money or because it's not fair that this other jug of milk got something. So just remember, as you're negotiating salary, you operate in a marketplace. So speak in terms of the value you're providing to them.